Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Joni Young here, and I'm going to be showing you step by step how to paint this black and white fantasy landscape. I have a black primed canvas that I purchased from a local art store. It's 11 by 14, and today we're using only one brush. It's a filbert brush, and it's a number 16. So I've gotten it a little bit wet, and then I dry it off on the towel, and I'm going to start taking some white, just a little bit of black, mix it up and make a light gray tone. Now let's begin. I'm going to start pulling lightly side to side with my brush for the path, pulling it over to the right and then back over to the left, making longer and wider sweeps with my brush, creating that perspective so that it looks like it's closer to us and like we can walk right into the painting. So again, very small little short strokes, and then pulling and dragging, or you want to change the direction and make your path look a little bit flowy. Okay, now that we've got our basic shape of our path, we're going to start creating a circle or a sphere. My brush is a little bit dry, and so I give it this sort of a soft hazy look. I'm going to pick up more of that light gray color, pull up and around. Okay, so now that I've got the basic shape, I'm just going to make it a little bit wider. Okay, now I'm just going to turn my brush sideways and tap and pull and flick for some hanging moss on the edge of this path. And I'm just working with the paint that's already in my brush. And then tapping wherever I want to have some foliage. Take a little bit more white now and define this a little bit more where that light's going to be shining down the most. It'll be the brightest right here. Now take a bit of black and mix up some gray again. It's a darker gray this time, and we'll begin adding our foliage along the side. So smaller taps where it's going to be farther away and you want to have smaller little bushes or flowers, and then we'll even have it growing right into this circle, this landscape, and this path is just leading off into this big round world or portal. We don't know where it leads, but it's very inviting. So we want to have all of those flowers and branches and trees going right into there. And we'll use some black, just straight black right here for a nice contrast. And I'm away from my studio today and in the last couple days, and I've been missing painting, so I thought I would just go over to the local hobby shop and pick up just a few little things before I head back home, and do a few quick little videos for you guys, just to show you how you can easily create a landscape with inexpensive craft paints and this brush that was only not even $2. So I'm going to take more gray I'm just going to add maybe some tree roots right here. This will be the base of the tree, and it's going to have all sorts of foliage and maybe some vines on there. And it's going to just intertwine with that circle, wrap around it, and pull and go around, curve over, make it look like the tree trunk and branches are just twisting and braiding around it. Okay, let's take some more white and make a lighter shade of gray now. Start tapping very lightly and then pulling for some highlights. A little bit more white now for a nice bright highlight. Just little soft taps. And we'll start adding some on the left side too. Getting smaller and smaller and smaller, creating that distance and perspective. And then have it turn on an angle, going up and pulling and flicking for some little trees back there. Make an instant little forest. Now we'll tap lightly, adding some foliage on an angle and wrapping around the left side. We'll soften this just a little bit. And let's take some more white now. Here, just bring that path, or maybe it's a little staircase. And we'll pull straight down, turning our brush, and then start tapping in all of our branches for our tree. And we'll add another one right here. This one's going to be taller. We'll push a little bit harder to work that paint out of there, and then reload and add some brighter branches. Now I did another black and white one the other day, and I worked on a white canvas adding dark trees, so it was kind of the opposite of this. A totally different landscape. It was lots of waterfalls and big sky. Now I'll add the link in the top right corner for you guys, so you can click on that and go have a look. Let's tap in some more foliage and start building up this section of the painting now. We're going to create another little portal or archway in here, and then even add a little fence and a path leading into it. I love it when I don't know what I'm going to paint, and then all of a sudden during the painting process all these ideas just start flowing, and it's almost like you're creating a story with a paintbrush. So much fun. Okay, let's work on these trees on this side a little bit. This one's a little bit smaller, further away, and pull in soft little flicks for those little trees that are even farther away. And maybe we'll start to pull a tree root or the base of a tree right here, and then it opens up and it's hollowed out right there. And that'll be our little archway. We'll just soften it a little bit to give it some light, make it nice and inviting. Give it some life with that little soft glow of white or light gray, and then tap around it So it looks like it's just covered in moss. And we'll brighten it up. And we might have to do this a few times when you're painting on a black canvas or black surface. It soaks in when it dries, and it'll look 2 to 3 shades darker, so you'll need to just reapply a little bit more white here and there until you get it to the highlight or the brightness that you want. So just pulling and sliding my brush again for another little path. And then we're just going to do little taps and pulls to create little lines with the very tip of our brush. Smaller as they go into that archway, and then a little bit longer as they get closer to us in the foreground. And then we'll connect them all with a few lines and add some more highlights to this path. And let's add some little bushes and highlights on this other side now. I think the light through there would be casting down a little bit, so let's just go ahead and tap with a little bit of white or light gray. Small ones here, and then they'll get just a little bit larger closer to us. So tap, 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 side to side. We're creating soft little bushes. Let's take a little bit of black now and give this a little bit more definition, make it stand out a bit more, have a little shadow around it. And then let's go on the opposite side of each of these fence posts and add a shadow. And as well on that board that runs through. And then each of those posts might have a little bit of a shadow casting down on the path. Oh right, that looks really pretty. Now I'm getting an idea of maybe there's a big tree that's gonna live over on this right side. And it's gonna be a lighter gray tone for now. And I'm not even going to start with a tree trunk. I'm just going to start tapping in all the branches. It's got a little bit of a curve to it. It's not a perfectly straight tree. Rarely do I ever paint a perfectly straight tree. I like to have flow and have things kind of crooked and curvy in my paintings. It's kind of my style. And I'm going to just pull in some waterfalls right here. Light gray. Pull and curve down and flick. And I think I'm just going to add some more foliage right around here. And we'll tap in maybe some right here too. I want to have some of these little bushes and foliage on either side of each of these waterfalls. And then we'll add more white to them. Line it up, pull, and flick. Look how nice and bright that looks. And it doesn't make sense, and that's what's fun about it. I love creating my own little worlds. We'll tap lightly at the base of the waterfall and then pull and flick, creating a little splash and spray. Maybe a few more waterfalls. I'm having so much fun painting them. Lower the brush up again, push and wiggle to flatten out the end of that brush, and let's highlight this tree right here. Now we're going to be adding a moon pretty soon, and that's why these trees are, that's where all this light's going to be coming from. All the highlights are going to be from the moonlight casting down on everything. So push and turn with your brush. I'm just going to finally wash this brush out before that paint starts drying in it, and soften continuously, making little soft circles, blending it lightly. Just going to scumble off a little bit of that paint right there, and then soften outside of it again. Maybe create a soft little haze with some little clouds, making them look fluffy. Let's brighten up this moon. Twist around with a little bit of paint on the tip of your brush. And if you have trouble getting that white dot in there and you're just having a hard time with a brush, you can dip your finger. I use my pinky sometimes, and I tap it lightly and you get a perfect round little dot. Okay, add some more light right here. Just soft little taps. And right here, I feel like I need to just pull and flick. And then it kind of started feeling like maybe there was some old ruins, or it was kind of like a castle. And so I kind of give an indication. And I'm not going to do too much detail back here. I don't want to take away from what's going on in the center that really pulls us in. But that's what I'm going for over here. That's what my imagination's telling me, is that this is little skinny peaks in the top of a castle, or like I said, some old ruins. Get that light gray again, and we'll start just tapping and pulling, barely touching the canvas again. One of the biggest mistakes new painters make is pushing too hard and using too much paint. Less is more. I feel like I need something right here, just a little bit more light. Maybe there's a mountain back there, way back there. Maybe it's a waterfall, a little forest, who knows. Just pull and flick up for some little baby trees back there. Okay, I'm liking that. Felt like something was missing right there. I'm just going to make this tree a little bit taller and get a bit of water on my brush and pull in some more white and brighten this up. Now I want to start adding a little bit more foliage and brighten up my highlights on the right side, close to these waterfalls, and then I'm going to tap and have it going up and around that circle. So tap lightly, start to guide it on an angle, wherever you want to have some little bushes and land. And then over the top, and then down that other side. Now you can tap some little bushes and branches in front of some of your waterfalls too. That's always a nice touch because it instantly puts your waterfalls behind and gives you that three-dimensional look. Add a little bit more white to these waterfalls using the tip of my brush, and I'll turn it sideways where I want to have skinnier lines and streams of water coming down. Soften the base. Pick up a little bit of black now and build up some shadow and contrast right here. Make my tree look a little bit larger right there, so it's in front of where that waterfall is. So I'm adding a highlight, a lighter shade of gray, not straight white. Okay, let's just add some more waterfalls right here. Get a bit of water, loosen some of that paint on my brush so it'll be able to flow nicely. Pull, drag, and flick. And then we'll tap, pull, and highlight. Really brighten this up right here. Maybe there's a big branch right here. Who knows? Maybe we'll add some big ferns. Really bringing this into the foreground. And I'll show you guys exactly how to paint ferns, one of my favorite plants to paint. And with a filbert brush, it's so easy. So we'll just start with that base first. And now I'm getting white on the very tip of my brush. I'll begin adding just a few little highlights here. And then maybe just a couple little baby waterfalls. Yeah, just some little ones back here. We'll start right here, pull and flick, and then overlap. And then turn my brush. Just do a few little curves like that. Alright, we've just got a couple of things to do before we begin our ferns. I'm going to take some black on the very tip of my brush and build up some more shadow and contrast right here. We've got a lot of the same gray tone right there, so we just need to get in there and break that up. And then I want to highlight this tree. We'll add a little bit more mid-tone gray right here. Scumble that out, give it a soft hazy look, almost like a glow around it. Now I'm going to take some white, wiggle and pull, pushing my brush slightly, and let's start coming in and tapping and loading this tree up. And just on the left side where the light would be hitting it. The other side is in shadow. Time to reload the brush and start tapping. Tap, 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 tap. Curve your brush down towards the bottom to get those smaller ones. And this is just the easiest way that I found through trial and error and practice and using different brushes This one has really been the most effective way to paint ferns and little leaves. And you can use a smaller size filbert brush, any size that you want, but this is just showing you that you can do an entire painting in big ferns and small ferns just using this one filbert brush. So I'm going to overlap them a little bit. Some of them are going to be brighter, some of them will be a little bit more gray. And then we'll pull a little skinny line through them that all those little leaves will be connected to. And they can go in different directions. So I'm going to continue to paint these, demonstrating for you guys. I'm going to paint a few over on the right side as well. And then I'll add the finishing touches and details to this painting today. And if you guys are enjoying this video and you're getting inspired and you're learning something new, give me a like and leave a comment below, as well as subscribe if you haven't already. It just lets me know that you value my content and my channel and makes me want to keep making videos for you guys. And let's tap one over here. So by turning your brush on a bit of an angle as you tap, will change the direction of your leaf or your fern, making your painting more interesting. So try to make them all a little bit different. Well, I really like how these extra bright ones are looking, especially that little one that curves over. And like I said, it's so much fun creating these ferns with this brush. You guys are gonna love it. Just gonna re-highlight this moon and then soften it up. Get it nice and clean and dry. And then lightly go around and around and around, creating a soft hazy glow. I'm just softening up, adding a little bit of gray down here. We'll just tap in a few more bushes right here. And then a little bit I'm going to scumble right around the edge. take a little bit more black and just tap lightly. Seeing a little bit more of a shadow here on these little bushes and branches. Okay, I'm just going to work a little bit on the foreground on either side of this path down here. I want to take a bit of black and start tapping in some little bushes. Just to make something stand out right here that looked a little like something was missing, and then add a little bit of shadow, some soft little flicks in here, maybe in between a few of those little ferns and leaves, and just a little bit more in here. And as I finish this painting and these final touches, I want to thank you guys again so much for joining me. I hope you get really inspired by this painting and want to create one yourselves. And don't forget to like this video, comment below, and subscribe for more free art inspiration. Happy painting, everybody, and I'll see you next time.